is some good news around if we look for it as well. So anyway, we have officially started now, because it's now 5 minutes, 5 o'clock exactly, give or take a few seconds. And if you could just introduce yourselves in the chat, that'd be absolutely fantastic. So it's just nice to hear what everyone's got to say. So just to bring this up as well, so you know what's been covered. Barnaby's doing a great session. I'm really looking forward to it, which is about turning high quality leads into high quality business. A little bit more from Barnaby a little bit later on. So just do introduce yourself. Please no web links. We are asking people not to self-promote in that context, please. But also tell us a little bit about what you do and how you like to make a difference. And also be bold with your questions. Barnaby loves being asked difficult questions. So just make sure you keep them coming, throw them at him, and he'll love them. And also I will thoroughly enjoy it as well. So go for it. Also, I can see a few people introduce themselves. So welcome, Raymond. It's nice to see you here today. Hello, Alex. Lovely seeing you. Hilary, again, good to see you just now. And Ian, we've got our contestants already coming on stream as from the earlier session, which is great. And a little bit of an introduction for myself, Rupert Honywood, founder of Business Growth Bureau. Miro, can you just move the banner for me if that's all right? So I forgot it left it still running. Basically, we formed Business Growth Bureau 6 years ago. Feel very strongly about the importance of building circular relationships where everyone wins. If you find ways of looking after all your supporters, then that's a really good thing to do. Chris, do you want to give a little bit of an introduction into yourself, if that's okay?
Yeah, sure. Chris Cooper. I help organisations, individuals realise more of the potential. I'm particularly fascinated at the moment around how we all elevate our consciousness to sort of solve world problems at a business level, at a government level. And my business and work typically is working with leaders and organisations, helping them to elevate their performance through people. I co-wrote the Power to Get Things Done, whether you feel like it or not, published by Penguin Random House, and I host the Business Elevation Show now for over 9 years on Voice America, and that is accessed in over 50 countries every month. So it gives me all sorts of learnings and sort of wisdom to help my clients and help people around the globe, really, just to sort of step up, which we need to do right now.
Yeah, lovely. No, thank you very much. 100% agree with that. Barnaby, I'm also going to give you a proper introduction in just a moment. But I would just like to say that to personal level, Barnaby has become a good friend as business colleague, just as well as Chris has, as well over a period of time. He's written a great book called The Brand Bucket. I think you've got another one in the works, Barnaby, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I'm furiously scribing away just to finish it off and get it out there with a new piece of thinking inside it, so to reflect where we're at now. So
nice. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Miro, just give us a quick introduction of you, because we always leave you out, and that's not right. Just tell us a bit about what you're really passionate about as well.
Well, I think everyone knows me quite well now. Muriel, I actually get great pleasure in solving problems. I'm a very organised person, and I do enjoy working with people to solve whatever problem they've got and making life easy for them and plain sailing. So that's me. Obviously, I assist Rupert in every way I can, and I've been on camera. This is my 4th day running, because as you know, we had the 3-day challenge. So lovely to see you all on today, and I can't wait to hear from you again, Barnaby.
Yeah, good. Just a very quick introduction to the final panelists today. Very deserving, by the way, as well. I can't believe the amount of effort everyone's put into this. So well done, Nikki, by the way. Very well done, Nathan, for getting this far as well. Jonathan, and also Ian as well. I don't even know who is actually the winner today. And I have to say, poor old Chris and Barnaby were thrown. This is an opportunity or a challenge at fairly short notice, because I needed help, because I felt I was too close to you all, as it were. But the results will be revealed a bit later. But very well done to all 4 of you for getting this far. And I'm going to Barnaby. Let me just bring this up just for a second. I'm going to let probably Barnaby go into a lot more detail around this in just a little while. But I wanted to just bring this up just for a second, just to explain that obviously we've talked quite a bit over the last few days about the social selling blueprint, which is really around the lead generation system, prospect nurturing, sales optimization side. Barnaby, everything he talks about is really around the bucket or the brand bucket, and it's very complementary to our processes. The big difference is, largely speaking, is that we will tend to focus on helping our clients to generate the leads, i.e. to push those in the top of the bucket. Then obviously once people accept the connect request on LinkedIn, they start to go more into the awareness phase in Barnaby's space, and then through the prospect nurturing part of what we do, which is a 5-message process, or up to 5-message process on LinkedIn. That goes more into the image match part of it, and then the sales optimization part of it is really more to do with the facts match, response, usage, and loyalty, that part going onwards. But rather than me go into that part, and I'll be asking Barnaby questions over this, what I really want to do is give Barnaby a chance to give his perception of the world, which we'll come to in just a moment. But Barnaby, moving on to that, first of all, could you just very kindly introduce yourself here, and also tell us a little bit about what you're going to be sharing today, and perhaps we could go from there, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. So hello everybody. I'm Barnaby, Wynter of the Brand Bucket Company. I'm a career brand practitioner, so I've launched over 570 brands across the globe. I had a rapid start to my career and ended up as the youngest MD of a top 200 advertising agency in 1999 in the heart of London. I actually liked that company so much that, like Remington Steel, I bought the company in 2001, just literally 10 weeks before the events of September the 11th in 2001. And actually, like many people who were in business at the time, marketing in particular took a hammering. And as an agency, we decided we really needed to reset our approach to developing marketing for these brands. And we began work early 2002 and spent about planned a 6-month project to relaunch ourselves and announce how we'd really cracked it, and we were very smart people. 7 years later, in 2009, we'd actually done that exercise. It was slightly longer than we'd anticipated. And actually, the outcome of that was having a fancy office, 6th-floor office block in Clerkenwell with studios and meeting rooms, and was actually not really worth having anymore, and was costing us an absolute fortune. So we spent a year moving the whole formula to the cloud, and in 2010, I pushed out alone, became a professional speaker, speaking on platforms across the world, including Iran and Switzerland and Australia, and predominantly in the UK, of course. And I outsourced everything to a whole network of best-in-class freelancers and suppliers. Today, I work with 5 to 7 big corporates a year. I speak professionally about 35 times a year about how you become a go-to brand. And I'm currently mentoring 21 business leaders at the moment as well. And I write loads of stuff, as you mentioned, the next book coming through, all that thing, really to reflect how much the role of marketing has fundamentally changed for business right now. I also sit on the court of the Guild of Entrepreneurs. I'm a founding freeman, and so I have quite huge responsibilities in outreach and in sponsorship. So there you go. Just a little flavour of what I'm like.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely brilliant, Barnaby. And the topics today you're going to be sharing with us today as well. Can you just talk us through that a little bit, and the relevance in terms of what we're going to be sharing?
So listen, guys, my guess is you've had a fantastic 3 days. I know, Rupert, going back, and certainly when he and I talked about what you were being taken through, from my point of view, it got you to a point where actually you were beginning to convert some really high quality leads, and that actually working with Rupert and the team there, you're getting some really high quality leads. What we learned when we were going through this 7-year program development was actually, it is often the case that marketing organizations and marketing departments think that marketing finishes once the sale is made. And what we discovered from our research was, in reality, that's when marketing really starts. Because what you've actually done at that point is you've been persuasive. You've kind of demonstrated your value. You've done all that thing, and now people have given you their hard-earned cash in exchange for ongoing products and services. They now have everything they need to make a judgment on whether you are really delivering against your promise. And if you don't apply marketing thinking to everything you do beyond the purchase, all the way through experiences and developing loyalty, what you may find is you lose people much faster than you should. And all that effort, all that energy, all that work that you've done to get those people that far into what I call the bucket is lost, and they just leak out all over the floor. And you end up spending your time on this hamster's wheel of keep having to get more people, put them in, because they all drop out of the bottom. So we have two particular steps that you really need to build into your marketing strategy, which is after the sale. And really that's what I was hoping to touch on today, and kind of maybe bring that to life a little bit. It's two of the 6 steps that we have in our brand bucket, but I'm not going to touch too much on the others. But maybe focus on that, the bottom of the bucket, as we call it.
Yeah, lovely, thank you. I think an area that's a lot of we find our clients struggle with, Barnaby, and perhaps if you don't mind me sharing this as well, is that obviously we are very good at, as you explained, working with our clients and helping to generate a really strong lead flow of opportunities coming through. Now, obviously, a lot of the time that can be to the point where people are either asking for more information or to have a sales-based conversation. Having said that, that's not typically an online conversation, and obviously there isn't necessarily the depth of the relationship there. So it's about, at that stage, generally trying to get people off the platform as quickly as possible, turn the answer to some form of conversation or some form of personal engagement, and going from there. Now, a lot of people we come across, or clients or potential clients, are really struggle with possibly that whole process from really start to become a physical conversation. You're taking away people from the platform onto the next part of the journey, which obviously I think ties in really well with the whole principles about the bucket. Can you just talk us through that a little bit in terms of how in your experiences, give us a few examples of where you feel that works really well, and what would actually be really helpful to people on this call today?
Okay, great. Inevitably, if you are addressing a marketplace, you are going to use as close to catch-all messages to get as many people into the bucket. Yeah. And inevitably, what you're working on is the parts of your value proposition that apply to the most number of people. So it is absolutely your core promise. It's the overall. As I move closer and closer to the purchase point, what happens is my buying decision becomes much more what they call egoic. So it becomes much more about me specifically, rather than necessarily anybody else. And we would all have possibly our own reasons for buying a particular product or service, irrespective of the product or service being exactly the same. So the real challenge in the marketing strategy is to move towards making the experience of your value proposition feel very, very personal. And the brand bucket was originally created in 1985 by somebody else, the guy I bought it from, to help Saab understand how people bought motor cars. And it was an 18-month research project. Now, when you buy a motor car, one of the things you tend to do, and I think the majority of us have probably done this, is you take the car for a spin, a test drive. Now, that isn't to see and check if it's got 5 wheels, i.e. the 4 on the outside and the one that you hold to steer the thing. It's not about checking whether the indicators work or the stereo works or the sunroof opens or anything like that. What it is actually designed to do is to immerse people in that sense of, I could be the owner of this vehicle. Yeah, and I feel good in it, it feels right, and it's designed around me, and it's all a beautiful thing. And what you have to do in your journey, when you've got these really high quality leads, is to immerse the people at that point in the fullness of your value proposition. And we, in my business, we call that the test drive, or creating a response where people go, "Oh, this is just wonderful." It's, you know, it's you're going to to the furniture store and sinking into a sofa. It's the taster menu. It's the if you're an online business, it's about taking something and maybe uploading it onto your computer, giving it a go. And we've all tried platforms where you get a month's free trial and then you kind of integrate it and you go, this is really interesting. And then suddenly it disappears and you go, where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? I need this. I've been built everything now. And what you've done is you've become part of those people's lives in some way. And they've really understood what your value is. And that's a critical point, because at that point is the best time to ask them to pay. Because what they've got is used to having you around. They love having you around. They like what you do. You seem to make a difference. And then what you could, because you're giving them a test drive, you just remove it. And you say, I'm sorry, we're not here. We're not a not-for-profit charity B Corp organisation. I'm sorry, you're going to take it away. And they go, you can't do that. You can't do that. And I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't afford to keep giving it to you. And you go, well, what do we do about this? And you go, okay, well, I do have one idea. And they go, what is it? What is it? And they say, you give us money and we'll carry on with this relationship. They go, yes, yes. And often they don't even ask if you've got your test drive right. So there's a critical point there where you're immersing people in the very essence of what you're going to give them. And of course, if you've done it well up to that point, you know exactly what they're looking for. You've gone through the system that you've been covering for the last 3 days. You've got a very clear understanding of what their needs are, what their desires are, why they came to you in the first place, and what they're looking to achieve. You've got all of that. So make the test drive about that. And if you do that, they're going to love you forever. They're going to love you forever.
Yeah, it's really interesting, this whole point, isn't it? And in fact, the nice thing about that as well, it's very consensual. The whole process is very consensual, isn't it? Anyone perhaps a bit uncomfortable over selling, quote unquote, on selling, because we all have to be able to protect ourselves and engage people in the right way if we're going to ever do any real business. It should be very natural to the way that people tend to work anyway. So a lot of your practices and methodologies are a very comfortable way for most people in the mentoring, consulting, coaching, or business services space particularly. But you've also covered the motor trade in particular there, haven't you? So
sorry.
So no, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But one thing I was just going to touch on there is obviously the one big difference is that I suppose with a motor car, it's a very tangible product. If you've got a service which is less tangible, what are some really good examples, would you say, of actually helping to take people through that test drive?
Well, okay, so my experience has been, if you think you've got an intangible service, you should productize it. So you should turn it into a product. And actually, if you've got a product, you should not, this is not a word in the English language, you should servicize it. So in other words, what you should do is you should build an amazing service around the product. And if you've got a service, you must productize it. So what you do is you give people a flavor of the impact of using the service. And that has to manifest itself as a physical benefit, and something that makes a difference. And there's two ways of doing that. You can do that physically, but actually you can also do it in people's heads. So you can create a kind of a what if in heads thing. So insurance is an interesting one, because why buy insurance? Nothing's ever going to happen to me. Yeah, I'm not going to need it. Nobody's going to break into my house, and my house is not going to burn down, and I'm not going to bump my car, and I'm not, that's never going to happen to me, is it? Really? Let's be quite honest about that. Until it does, of course. So what you need to do is to draw on the world that people see, that people understand, and bring the imagination of that experience to life for something that's so intangible that you can't absolutely demonstrate the value. So now, what I don't mean, and I'm absolutely anti, is this old school sales approach of creating pain in people. Yeah, that I do not mean that. That was old white socks, second-hand car salesman selling techniques of 30 years ago, of walking up to people and say, I can see you're in trouble. Am I? Yes, you are. I can see it. And you go, well, I can't see it. And you go, oh, here you are, let me just kick your ankle. Does that hurt? Yes, that does hurt. Well, there you go. That proves my point. Well, you've just kicked me. Oh, well, I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to kick you. Blah, blah, but now you're in pain. You probably need some medical health thing. And I said, well, I wasn't in pain before. What are you doing? You know, blah, blah. And that's how a lot of, and there are still some professions, the legal profession that's 15 years behind everybody else in marketing for various reasons. You know, is still running ads on. I mean, my television is full of what we used to call daytime TV ads. What happens if you die without a funeral plan, or you can't fix your house, so equity release, or your injuries for you, or whatever things, blah, lawyers and all that sort of thing. Their whole essence is fear and scare tactics. We can leave all that to the government. Actually, what we should be doing is creating a positive outcome, a new world, a better place. Because in the new digital knowledge economy, everybody knows you can be tested very quickly. So elicit it in people's imaginations, or in a perfect world, create a physical experience of the benefit of your test drive.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, I really like the magic, and I think that's a really, I really like that, especially because it is about trying to make things feel very tangible and something you can touch and feel, and everything else from that. So you've got someone who's actually now they've had a test drive of that product, service, car, whatever it may be. What next in that journey? Now we've covered part of that now, but what would you say is next?
Well, I think you know, once the money's changed hands, and there's a whole separate piece on the best ways of get money changed hands.
Right, it's a little bit before that, Barnaby. So you've got someone who's gone that test drive.
Yeah.
What do you say are good techniques for moving people on from the test drive? You've given the example about possibly taking that away.
Yeah, you can take that away. But actually, what you do is you demonstrate during the test drive how they can maintain the value of this relationship that you've now created. It's it should feel one-to-one, and what you do is you demonstrate and said, look, actually, if you commit to a relationship with us as an organization, with our product or our service, what we're going to do is we're going to give you even more confidence, more reliability, more authenticity, whatever it is you're selling. You'll get more of that, and you can start to use it as a building block of the kind of life you want to lead, whether it's in business or whether it's as an individual. And so what you do is you start to tell the story in its greatest figure, the full value proposition, and you add lots of dimensions that people go, yeah, that fits with where I'm at. That would be really useful. You promise support. You promise education on how to get the most out of the product or service. You do all of those things to a point where people, you know, so you've got someone to come and visit you and set you up, and you know, whatever it is it takes within your business, you just make it feel like a great big fluffy blanket all around you, and you just think, oh, that just feels amazing. Yeah, and the other thing you can do is just touch on how that relationship is now better than any other relationship you have, to kind of prevent them going off to say, okay, well, you know, I'll go and check other people, and say, don't, you know, and you can explain the context in which the product and the service exists to a point where they just feel, actually, this feels really good. I'm going to carry on this relationship. It was a lot of work getting here. I'm really chuffed. I think I should carry on. I'm sure there's other people do similar things, but you know what? I'd have to start all over again. And you know, and actually, the 4 steps of the brand bucket will have already made sure that's a slam dunk anyway, because you've done the image match, you've done the benefit hierarchy, you've done the test drive. You know, why would anyone want to go anywhere else? People do, of course. You know, so it's not 100%. You know, in fact, there's a mathematical equation that you would expect to probably convert about between 1 in 3 and 1 in 5 of your test drives into.
I love the analogies you've given there, you know, especially about building blocks and everything else that goes with it, because maybe that, for example, clients may come in to start with and buy something initially at lower cost. So if it's say a professional services organization, it may be the core provision of that organization is selling something which may have got a total value of, I'm making it up, at £50,000 or dollars. And you may have got an entry level product which might be a 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 piece of work. So you've got to the point where someone's actually gone so a bit beyond a test drive. They perhaps bought an initial piece of work.
Yeah.
How about, obviously you've covered quite a bit of this already, but how can you take them where they've done that initial piece of work, love them to death, take them on to the next part of the journey? What are good steps to actually take them on to this next stage where they may want to plug into something more substantial, which is your core proposition, let's put it that way?
Well, okay, so irrespective of what they spend with you, you must treat them the same way. And what the trick is always to exceed expectation.
Nice.
And we in our model we call this usage, and this is why because marketing is about taking promises and presenting them to people and then fulfilling them. What you do when people have given you the money is they have a very clear expectation, which is actually derived from the value they placed on the money they gave you, and then they go, well, I want at least the equivalent of that because I'm exchanging one for the other. But your opportunity is to exceed that at all time, and we describe this as make the experience of being a buyer truly amazing.
Right. Nice.
Actually, the way I can demonstrate that, actually.
This Barnaby's props coming up, by the way, now. So be ready for these props. You'd expect.
I do have a lot of props, actually. But how many of you are out there, and you probably should put your hands up on the thing, and have got an iPhone? Yeah? Has anyone got an iPhone? Does anyone on this call have an iPhone? I hope so.
So.
An iPhone. Well, if you've got an iPhone, do you still have the box? Have you still got the box, Rupert? Oh, not only have you got it.
Comes to me, but I have got this beautifully nurtured box of.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There's a great example. So
and it's so nice. I won't throw it away.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the point. Here's the one that's travelled all over the world for me, and it's starting to rub off. This is from the original iPhone 3, right? Now I'm going to explain this. This is something of absolute beauty. Look, if I open it and stop the opening process, the lid stays in the same place and doesn't move, right? Okay. How cool is that? Right? That's so cool. It doesn't matter where I put it on the thing. I hope you see this on the camera. It doesn't move, right? And so I can go away, make a cup of tea, come back, and the lid is still in the same place. When I opened the box, there's the original iPhone 3, which I thought was much nicer than any of the others. There's a nice plastic thing. There's a guide. And in the original one, it had a plug hole for the plug. I mean, there's just, it's now. You will have started to realize that I don't get out much. Unfortunately, that's now become commonplace. And now none of us get out much. So, tough, you're going to turn like me. So don't worry about that. But this box is beautiful. It is genuinely beautiful. And when you think about it, it's just a box. And whenever I talk to people with iPhones, they've still got the box. They don't throw it away because it's too good to throw away. What? Well, we are a throwaway society. How can a box be too good to go away? And it's true. When we moved house a few years ago, one of the last things I did was get to the back of my wife's wardrobe, and there were a whole collection of shopping bags with beautiful strings and stuff and fancy. And I said, "What are all these? I didn't know we had all these." And she said, "Well, I don't know. They're too good to throw away." And I go, "What? There's 30 of them." I have to say they were brilliant for picking up all the things you'd forgotten and stuff like that and loading them in the back of the car for the last thing. The reality is there are ways of creating amazing wow experiences, and we call this usage. Other things I like. I mean, actually, this you'll have seen possibly a glimpse of my shape on the camera as I've been moving about. But I think this is very, very clever. Now, I hope most of you don't know what it is, but this is the top of a McDonald's drink. Yeah. And McDonald's make perfectly good coffee. And if you're driving late at night, you see a yellow M on the motorway and it's raining like it is now, you think, I need a coffee, good stop. It says on the sign. But what they've done is they've devised a lid where they press, whether you've got a latte there, I don't know if you can see a mocha, blah, blah. So if you order 3 or 4 coffees, they just press the little dimple down and put them on the tray and you can tell whose coffee it is. That's just smart, right? It costs them nothing to print these, nothing. It's the same whether they were flat or whether they weren't flat. But somebody's gone to the thing of just thinking, how can we make people's life amazing? So the next step you have to do after people giving you money is you've just got to amaze them. Yeah. I could see Ian has said under promise and overachieve. No. Over promise and overachieve. That's cheating, Ian. You can't do that. That's like knowing you know what the promise is. You have no idea what the promise is, what people are buying from you. So anyway, but the point is, you've got to spend some time and energy improving everything. Can you improve the binding on your document? Can you put more colouring? Can you wrap the thing you send out in tissue paper? Can you put a user guide in? Can you add tips and tricks on how to get the best out of it? Can you create an online portal for people to keep all their documents? Stuff that just people go, I wasn't expecting that. And actually what they if you do that, and we call that usage, make the experience amazing. And that has to be the next step. And if it was me, when it is me, whenever I have an opportunity to have a budget, I'll spend less getting people into my bucket and much more on people enjoying being a buyer from me. Surprise them, yeah, and do that. And if you do that, that's the next step. And then they go, what you're looking for is one response, which is, I'm really glad I bought from this company. Yeah, that's all you're looking for. Yeah. So that's all you've got to do.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because in the retail space, for example, I think is it Protomology, I'm not sure which one it is, but quite often if you go in there, they'll actually give you something extra without you asking for it.
Correct.
Yeah. Also,
when you go into a hotel room and there's like a bowl of fruit, or there's some port in glasses or something, and you think, God, I didn't do that. That's quite nice to talk something else.
Yeah, exactly. And interesting enough, there's obviously Amazon unfortunately gets a lot of bashing all the time, sometimes justified, in other cases it perhaps not. But I was really surprised the other day because we bought something. I bought myself a rowing machine from Amazon. You probably can tell why I need one. I need
Sorry, let me just take in a shot, take a breath there, just while
I'm afraid it's nothing like as sophisticated as Chris's bicycle, because he's got a bicycle and he can cycle around his room, and he could be appearing to be cycling all around some Caribbean island.
Right. Yes, okay, but
this rowing machine. So I love these gadgets. This rowing machine. It's supposed to have an integrated display which ties in with an iPhone, ties in with the health apps and all this stuff. Yeah. Where the software was rubbish, absolute rubbish. Didn't work.
Of course. Yeah.
So I contacted Amazon. Amazon, of course, if something goes wrong, I'm normally very good at just agreeing to collect, replace it or whatever. This particular case, this blinking rowing machine was so heavy, no one really wanted to pick it up, So Amazon, in the end, actually, you didn't even really have to ask for it. They actually said, "I'll tell you what, just keep it. We're not going to even ask you to either keep it or dispose it. Entirely up to you. We're actually going to refund the money for the rowing machine."
Right. Okay.
I was really surprised. It's the first time it's ever happened with Amazon.
Yeah.
But I was really surprised because it's always something that's about £300. The only thing I can think of is they're probably flooded with these things. I don't know what the hell to do with them. But the other side of it is, for me, that was actually an example which I'd never had before with Amazon, where they actually way above the call. So
it reminds me. I launched Argos, which many of you may have heard of many moons ago, and they were famous for exchanging goods within the first 16 days. If you weren't happy with it, and part of my philosophy, and I learned this from David Ogilvy, I was working for Ogilvy Maid at the time, is you should always buy or use the product or service that you're advertising, and that was his view. And so I volunteered to work at Argos over Christmas, right? A newly opened one in Wood Green, which is where I lived at the time. And I turned up, and I'm this young Turk from the advertising world, right? So they put me, believe it or not, on Boxing Day, on returns on the first day of the sale. And when I arrived, there was a big queue of people already trying to get into Argos. And I walked past them and thought, God, this sale's going to be a hell of a thing. And they said, when I got in, the manager said, why don't you go on returns and we'll cope with all the sale people. Of course, when the doors opened, everybody came to returns because what they'd done is completely stitched me up and put me on returns. But a guy walks up to the counter with an iron on which it had a John Lewis sticker saying bought in John Lewis for the price. So he walks up to the counter. He said, "I'd like to bring this back." And I looked at it and I said, "Yeah, that was bought in John Lewis. this is Argos." And the manager, who happened to be walking past, he stopped me because he knew what was going on. He tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "Do we sell that?" And I said, "Yeah, we sell that." And he said, "Oh, okay." He said, "Right, if we sell it, you can take it back, but you have to give them a credit note. You can't give them cash because obviously they bought it from us, blah, blah. Just give them a credit note, some coupons for the same amount of money." I took this thing and I put it in. And at the end of the day, I said, "I'm sorry, I don't get commercially why you're taking back stuff from other people." And he said, "Okay, but think about this logically. Here is somebody who's gone to the effort to come to our shop. They bought in a product. They know it's not bought from Argos, right? We've given them vouchers which they have to spend back with us, so we keep the money, and our contracts with all of our suppliers that we return things to them and they have to pay for them. We don't have to pay for them, and we just used to throw everything into a big thing." And he said, "And we built now an amazing experience for that person." And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
is actually and like you said, the moment you have that experience, you just think, wow, I wasn't expecting. That's the trick at the next step immediately after purchase, to do that, no questions asked, just go, "Yeah, sorry, blah, blah, blah." Now, clearly, if you're selling a hooky product or a hooky service and everybody comes back and tries to swap it or becomes a rumor or whatever, that you can get free rowing machines from this company if you just ring up and say the software's rubbish, then you're in trouble. So don't do that.
I think this is a really interesting point, this whole area in itself, isn't it? Because I think one of the points you make a bit earlier on, certainly on your slide, is about how you can make people become advocates of your business so they actually want to buy more.
Yes.
Really good examples there of, through excellent customer service. Earlier on Monday this week, through the mini conference, we talked about the importance of building tribes, people really strong supporters and advocates of your product, service, or widget, whatever it may be. Can you give us some examples of where perhaps building tribes? And in fact, there's another lady that Chris very kindly introduced called Robbie Kelman Baxter, who was fantastic a few weeks ago, and she was talking a lot about her experience with Netflix, Microsoft, and everything else like that. And she talked about the subscription model. Now, obviously, everything there is about retaining loyalty, so they want to keep on subscription forever. But take us through some of those examples, if that's okay.
Well, I've talked at length about make the experience of being a buyer amazing, so exceed expectation. The final step in the brand bucket is what we call loyalty. So how do you create loyalty? Now, loyalty is very, very challenging in the modern day because everybody's fighting on price and all sorts of things. So creating loyalty is a real challenge. The way that seems to be the most successful right now is to have a very simple strategy, which is we call the thank you strategy. So what you've got to do is you've got to put in place on your marketing plan a thank you strategy. And what I mean by thank you is you constantly engage with the people who buy with you and keep saying thank you to them all the time. And the way you do that is by enhancing their experience of your product or service way beyond what they thought they were buying. And there's loads of ways of doing that. And in a world, in a knowledge economy where everything's moving on, what you can do is you can say, we notice you've had the product or the service for a few months. You haven't been using it as much. Here is a guide on how you can get even more from your product or your service. Mobile phones are notoriously famous that people use less than 20% of the functionality of their mobile phone. and probably don't even use it have been a point where the apps aren't working or things like that. And actually what the iPhone and the mobile phone says, they keep updating, keep sending you stuff, keep saying you can get more out of it, more out of it, more out of it. And oh, this is very distracting. I'm really seeing someone.
Yeah, that's because it's blocking the screen, isn't it?
Yeah, no, don't need to see me. Don't worry. Yeah. I would start reading them and go, oh, hold on. So what you can do is keep sending tips, insights, user guides, extra bells and whistles, upgrades, explain to people there's extra dimensions to what they're doing, and just keep doing, rather than relying on the once a year renewal strategy where you write to them 2 days before the renewal and say, just to let you know, we are renewing at only 10% uplift on this thing. We've kept prices as low as possible, and blah blah. And you go, oh god, yeah, and you haven't got time to switch because you're worried that there's going to be a gap between one thing and another, and all that sort of thing. So actually, what you need to do is build loyalty. Now, there's 2 reasons for doing that. The first reason is that they love being in a relationship with you because you keep surprising them with extra little things, and they spend more money with you because it's easier to go back to you and say, do you do this? Yes, we do. Okay. Well, do you do that? Yes, we do. Do you offer this? Yes, we do. Do you offer that? Yes, we do. Okay. And because you're already with us, we'll give you an XYZ discount, added value, whatever. Actually, no, don't. Actually, I made a mistake there. You never offer discounts. You offer added value all the time. It's always added value, never discount. Don't discount anything. That's the race to the bottom commodity strategy. The moment you use any discount in your business, always added value. And what they also do is they tell people about you. So what they do is they become advocates. So in other words, they say, when you're sitting in the pub and they say, oh, well, I'm really fed up with X, Y, Z. And they say, do you know who you should go with? You should go with these people because they do this and do that and do this and do that. Fantastic. But you need to build that in strategically. If you're going to write a blog, for example, to attract people at the top, to put on LinkedIn, I don't know if that's something you've talked about in the 3 days, right? Send that blog to all your people who already buy from you. Just package it up, put it in, and say, look, we're trying to attract people with this great piece of new news, but we thought, and send it 2 days before you publish it to everybody else. So they go, actually, I'm a bit ahead of the game. I'm on the inside track. I'm in the VIP area. Yeah, I'm getting special treatment. That's what you've got to do. And when you do that, actually, what happens, it's really important to strategically and physically put that on your marketing plan. So you've got usage. How do we exceed expectation all the time? And then loyalty, which is just say thank you all the time. Whenever you come up and say, oh, this is really good. I didn't realize I could use an iPhone box upside down as a storage unit. Put it out there and say, you know what, I can use an iPhone box as a storage box. Or if you're going to buy them back, or you're going to, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. So just do that.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Barnaby, you've been fantastic as ever. Thank you very much indeed. I've actually missed most of your props today. I've only seen one of them.
I've got loads.
Actually, no, 2. Sorry, I saw 2. McDonald's lid and also the iPhone box.
Loads. So, if there are good questions, I might be able to draw some others out.
Yeah.
I've got a new one as well, which I need to try out, but it was in response to a different question. So
yeah, no, good, excellent. Just a quick shout out, Miro. I know Miro is there, but Jonathan, can you just confirm you're online? I can see Nikki's here, Ian, and also just bear me a moment, Nikki and Nathan. I think you're here as well, aren't you? Yeah. But Jonathan, I'm not sure you're present on this call. Can you, if you are, it's really important you just flag yourself up in the chat, please. Miro, if necessary, could you try and reach Jonathan in his mobile, please?
Hillary's asked for one more prop. Look.
Yeah, okay. So Miro, just give Jonathan a call on his mobile. Yeah,
I will do. I did have confirmation that he logged in. I got an email confirmation, but I'll give him a call.
Okay. Miro, can you make sure the link for the people joining us here is actually in the chat as well?
Yeah, okay.
That's in the email I copied you in earlier on. Is that okay?
Okay.
Lovely. Okay. Right. Okay. So we're about to draw the competition very shortly. So the contestants, remember the in order to qualify, you do actually need to be here to receive the prize. Okay, so quick reminder to that. So if you can stand, whatever you're doing. Now we've got just a few quick slides we'll go through just to give a chance for everyone to be here as well. And in a moment, we're going to be asking the 4 contestants to actually join us in the green room, because we're going to bring you up on air as well. But just give everyone a bit of a chance, just a bit of a recap here. Sorry, bear me a second. Let's go back here. Jonathan, Barnaby, thank you very much for that, by the way. And obviously, I'll bring Chris in as well.
For people.
Yeah, that's good. And I'll leave Mira out to the stream this room, because I'm just going to try and make that call. So in a second, there we go. And right, there we go. Got that in there as well. So just a quick reminder. I won't harp on about this too much, but I will just give people a quick reminder about this. The Bounce Back Loan Scheme is due to finish around about the 4th of November. I think there's been some announcements today from the Chancellor. Okay, so I'm not sure what the latest announcements are, but just bear that in mind. It is there. If you're a micro business, it's a very cheap source of finance, worth putting some money at one side in your bank account, but also keeping money to one side for essential marketing or anything that's going to help grow your business in any shape or form.
On that, it's been extended.
Okay.
So the term of payment has been extended to up to 10 years, thereby reducing the payments by half. I think was the headlines that I saw.
Was it? Have they done that for existing people taking bounce back loans, or is it only new customers that have interest?
Well, I think it's people who are taking on loans from now in the extension, and the new product is being launched next week, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so just keep a lookout on that, because it's especially important at the moment, because it's really important businesses are well funded to see them through, but also to make sure you can spend the money on the right things. Barnaby, thank you for that. Also, very quick reminder: every Thursday we have the Look Forward Thursdays, preceded by a networking collaboration session, and then obviously each week we've got a different guest speaker. We've got a fantastic guest on next week. Barnaby's a repeat, as you know, and always comes up with something fresh and very exciting. Farron Jury, that's great news. Thank you for that, by the way. Farron Jury is got an MBE for his service to Queen and Country, but did a great talk about 6-8 weeks ago, which everyone really enjoyed. And next week, he's going to be taking through Make the Life You Want to Happen with a Plan. It might not sound obvious, but he's created a really good software tool, which I absolutely love, which is called Go Make It Yours, which cooperates with the visual success map. He's going to explain how that all ties in really well. And you can read the bullets on there for yourself. But what I'd recommend you do is make sure you join us next week. Going to be really interesting. We've had the 3-day mini conference this week, and we're about to draw the prize today for this the BizGrowth Premier membership. And as part of that, I've had to seek the advice, well, not advice, but Barnaby and Chris very kindly helped me out today, by the way, because I felt too close to the 4 contestants. I didn't feel I could be objective about it. So Barnaby and Chris very kindly volunteered or been volunteered. And what we've covered over the last 3 days is really to do with everything on this slide. So you can see why Barnaby's topic today was so relevant, because Barnaby's part really takes people on to the next part of the journey. So thank you for being so generous with your time, Barnaby, here today. Obviously, the mini conference is finished, but for those of you who want to see a very condensed version, over 55 minutes of what we shared over this week, you can take part in a webinar. And the way you can access that is by going to the Business Growth Bureau website. And what you do is, if you look at this bottom option here, you can choose events and then choose key strategies to transform or grow your business. It's a webinar, and at the end of it, you can book a strategy call and with myself, and also complete a diagnostic. To join us for the regular Thursday events, you just go to the events drop down on the website and can check in there and either choose continue. If you choose recurring, it does book you in for multiple weeks, which saves a bit of time. And for those of you already interested in booking a discovery session or strategy call, there are the details. Do reach out. Mira, I'll let you just put the 45-minute link in there as well in the chat as well, if that's okay. Now, those of you who are ready to join the green room, Mira's shared a link with you, the 4 contestants, if you could very kindly click the link that Muriel's shared with you, and I also emailed you this afternoon. I'll see you come up on here and we'll introduce you in just a moment or two. So be ready to join us in the green room, please. That'd be fantastic. Okay, and then moving on from here. Sorry, give me a moment. Obviously, we're very much here for you. To be reminded each week about these live streams. You can also, Facebook, set up a reminder. Also, if you could very kindly like our page, if you do genuinely like what we're sharing with you. And also on YouTube, you can choose the subscribe option and also hit that bell, as it were, if you want a reminder. But we're here with you in your journey, whether it can be a very lonely journey at times. We want to be here to help you in the growth of your business. And also, that's one of the reasons that Chris is so involved with this every week. Very grateful for Chris's time. He very patiently works with me. He has to put up with my ways in all sorts of different shapes and form. And Barnaby's been a keen or mad volunteer today, so thank you very much for that. And now, coming on to the very important part of the competition itself, a shout out again to Ian, Jonathan, Nathan, and Nikki. So I can see Nikki's with us. Jonathan, if you could click that link, please, and also who else? And also, bear me a moment. So we've got Ian and Nikki. Let's bring you in right now. And
Nathan said that he's had to go. He's going to try and log in on his mobile.
Right. Okay. And so we've got one missing. Then we're all. That's Jonathan, isn't it?
Yeah, Jonathan hasn't joined us yet. The link is in the window, Jonathan. If you can hear us. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So let's give everyone just another 30 seconds. So just to Muriel, can you just put the link in there again for Jonathan? I don't know where I can elevate. I'm not sure I can elevate Jonathan from here. Right. Jonathan, can you click that link? It's emailed to you this afternoon as well, and it's in the chat. Okay, it's a StreamYard link. Can you see it there? Right. We'll get there in the end. Technology is wonderful when it works. Just need you to click that link. Nathan, do join in if you can. Okay. Right. Ian, we've got you and Nikki here. So this is the really nerve-wracking bit. I think what we'll do, if it's all right with Chris and with Barnaby, can we start the prizes off in reverse order? Let me just switch the screen share off for a moment. And it's Jonathan joined the screen. It hasn't yet. Okay. We know he's there. No worries. Okay. So can we start off with the runner-ups first? So we had someone who won the second prize, Barnaby and Chris. Who was the person who won the second prize today?
It was Nikki.
Nikki, very well done. Fantastic. So that's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so there's a £50 Amazon voucher on its way for you. So thank you very much. I think you collected one last month, didn't you? Last time round, didn't you?
In July, I was runner-up in July.
Oh my God!
Always the bridesmaid. Yeah.
Oh God! And we've got Nathan with us as well. He's actually in his car. Hopefully not driving, Nathan. So, we haven't done this before.
No, I'm not driving.
Okay, right. And can we give, there's two people who didn't win today, but we would like them still to have a runner-up prize, which is a £25 Amazon voucher. Who were the two people who didn't win?
If you reveal that, you'll reveal the winner.
Shall we go for the winner? I've got a little way at just of maybe revealing the winner, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, go on, Chris, you go for it.
While you were talking, Barnaby, on my desk, I had this box here, which is some marshmallows, which my wife actually gave me this. My wife orders lots of plants, particularly in lockdown. They just starting to flow in huge volume into our house. But we know who we're going to get plants from in future, because with this particular batch of plants, there was this box in there with actually, like you said, Barnaby, it's got a lovely way.
I love it. I want one.
You want one?
Cool.
I had to say, there was another order as well, which had salted caramel ones, which were even tastier than these. But in the bottom of this box, I had a name of a winner. And that winner is, I don't know if you can see that. You're going to read that. Is Nathan.
And Nathan.
Hey!
Congratulations.
Wow.
Congratulations, Nathan.
There's one problem now. It's going to be the carpool karaoke. You've got to sing to us. Anybody singing?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Nathan. So very well done. So absolutely, I actually had no idea. I promised I had to keep well out of this. I asked Barnaby and Chris not to share these results, by the way. And the two other winners, which are for the 25% Amazon vouchers, are very well deserved as well. So Jonathan clearly won that by default. And also, so is it Ian as well, isn't it? Is that right?
Ian, yeah.
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Yeah, so, oh gosh, that's been really nerve-wracking. So very well done to everyone today. And thank you very much for taking part. Sorry, Nikki, you didn't win it this time. And this is why I found it even more difficult. So because we got so many worthy contestants. Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Nikki, for you. Actually, I'm going to do something a bit extra for you because I do really feel for you because you got 90% last time round. You were the runner-up last time, and you're the runner-up this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an associate partner, membership, okay, which actually is worth £1,000. Okay, and I only think it's fair because it's the second attempt, and you were really close last time, and you're really close this. Yeah, so they're well done on that. And Ian, obviously, and Nathan, thank you very much for taking part as well. As
My pleasure.
Yeah, good.
Totally enjoyed it.
Yeah, good. Any sort of feedback from anyone today? Any questions that people have flagged up in the stream that they want to share with people today? So I think that's pretty well it, isn't it? Just to give people Barnaby's contact details briefly. Nathan, stay on as long as you want. Or the contestants stay on here as long as you want, by the way. But I just had this quickly on the screen. So you know how to contact Barnaby after this show as well, or Chris. Barnaby's web address there is phone number, and also Chris's and email address too. So do feel you can reach out. And I just want to say a very big thank you for everyone today and for taking part in the competition. So you take care, everyone, and we'll see you see you next week, all being well. So thank you very much. Yeah, take care. Thanks.
Well done.
Yeah,
Well done, everyone.
All right, congratulations, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.